Hey, welcome to the channel. Thanks for watching my video. Today we're going to look at the orientation of Kiely's car as it went through its recovery. We're also going to take a look at the windows, the condition of them previous to the recovery and after the recovery. So let's start off with the orientation. First off, we're going to look at AWP's video here, and we're going to notice that the car is here and it is perpendicular to the shoreline. The front of the car, which you will be able to plainly see later, is facing this way. So that means that this car is upside down. This is going to be the driver's door. This is going to be the passenger door. This is going to be the back of the car. Okay. Some of this will be more clear later. Let's move on to the other video. This is a video from KCRA. I will put links to both of these in the description box. We're going to go ahead and skip to 3911 if you'd like to look at it. That is here. This is the first camera shot. You can't really see much. That car is under this buoy right here. You skip ahead to 4331 or so, you're going to start being able to see the car being manipulated by the tow truck. Let me speed this up a little bit. The diver's down there. He's made his final check. The car's about to start flipping. You can see it right there. The car is on its side. You have the front of the here. You have the front of the car is facing that way. You have a wheel here, a wheel here. This is going to be the passenger side that's sticking up. So the driver's side is on the bottom of the lake right now, and one of the windows is getting crushed out, by the way. And we'll let this go and you'll see it flip. Give it a second. Speed this up a little bit. Plainly on the side, and there's the flip. We'll draw some lines on here. Car is facing approximately like this. This is the shoreline. So they turned it a bit and flipped it. Now they're going to need to back it up out of there. Let's see. I think they're going to turn it. You can see the car kind of turning right here. Let me back that up just a little bit. So here you can see that the car's turned quite a bit off, maybe 70 degrees off of perpendicular to the shore. If we watch this and speed it up, you can see the car actually turning. There's tension on that line and that car's turning right now back to parallel with this tow truck. And they've almost got it, and now they've got it straightened out. And then after that, they go ahead and they pull the car in. And you can see this is the rear of the car. The front of the car is facing out away. So now let's go to the windows. Now I made another video on the windows and all the confusion that kind of surrounded the windows. So again, if you can imagine that car underwater, this is the driver's window. You can plainly see that the driver's window is intact. Let's see. The driver's rear window The driver's rear window is down halfway. The passenger front window is all the way down. And again, front of the car is this way. Sorry about my crappy arrows. And the shoreline is exactly that way. Let's see. I have a couple of pictures there. I did say in the other video that you don't see any presence of glass here. You don't see glass in the car. You don't see glass on the bottom of the lake. This one you can see that the passenger rear window is up previous to being pulled out of the lake. And then we go through, and here, after the car flipped on the driver's side, you can see that both front windows are now out and the back windows are unchanged. So just to be clear, when the car went in the water, the passenger window was either busted out or was down. If it was busted out, there's glass somewhere else, because it's not at the bottom of that lake. The driver's window was broken on the flip. The rear windows are unchanged. I think the reason that all of this matters is because everybody assumes that if she was in the front of the car and that passenger window was down, the question is, why didn't she escape? Why would she go to the back of the car? At least that's the question for me. And then why would you pass up a whole other window to get into the back of the car? So essentially you've passed up two open windows to get to the rear of the car. None of that makes sense to me, but I don't want this to be a speculative channel. I want it to be obvious question type channel. And to me, those are obvious questions. There was a lot of confusion about these windows, which ones were down, which ones were up, which ones were busted out in the thing. And I think we should have cleared that up by now, and we can move on with it. And you can see, just for confirmation, this is a little bit more turned. You can see here the driver window. This is the proof that this one was busted, and that little piece, that little shard of glass isn't on the passenger side. You can also see here the driver's side now has a dent where it didn't before, and the mirror's obviously jacked up. Let's go back to the front. See, there you can see that mirror is intact. Anyways, we could go back through the this video right here. I think it's very interesting that the divers approached the car multiple times. Basically, if you want to get a pen and write it down, I'll go through some timestamps with you. At 21:11, the divers are on the shoreline. So that's a starting position, right? At 21:46, the divers get in the water. At 23:41, the divers are approaching the car. Okay. They are underwater with the car from this point all the way to 37:30. You can see just to go backwards before we get to that though, at 33:44, let's see here, 33:44, you can see a sheriff's department diver getting in the water, probably to serve as a rescue to these other two. And in just a second, the other diver will also jump in the water. That will be at 35:53. At 41:12, you're going to get your first helicopter shot. And you're going to see the diver that's in the front swimming around. I don't know if he's looking for stuff. I don't know if he's manipulating the tow chain or holding tension on it. I don't know what he's doing down there. Let's see. At 44:06, the car is on its side. If any of you want to get to that part of the video and get a better, slower look at that. At 44:38, the car flips onto its wheels. At 45:09, the divers approach the car again. At 46:45, the divers spread out. Let's go to that. 45:09. So you have the divers approaching the car. This is what they're probably doing is hooking up the tow chain from wherever the point on the car that they used to flip it to the back tow hitch. And I don't know if y'all noticed, but this car does have a tow hitch on it. At 46:45, the divers will spread back out. At 50:31, there's a guy in a white shirt up here that will talk to one of the divers. They both turn around and go back to the car at that point. At 50:59, they get to the car. At 52:40, they move back away from the car. At 1 hour, 13 minutes and 13 seconds, the tarp is broken out. I had a question about that, if anybody can answer that. Let's see, 1:13. So here you have these people breaking out a tarp. Now, my question is this: why are you putting a tarp over the car? It seems like that tarp would do damage to any kind of fingerprints that are on the car. I understand that you want to cover the car for dignity and stuff like that, but they have these large shields that they could have just got in the water a couple of feet and put those shields on the sides of the car, and I think it would have been just fine. And they it seems to me could have preserved any evidence that tarp might have ruined by putting it over the car. I don't know. Let me know if that's incorrect, if a fingerprint could survive that tarp rubbing up against it and all the water and everything. I did want to know about that. At 1:14:25, the car is all the way out of the water, and you can start seeing at 1:14:43, you start seeing the car, the wheels turn to the left and the front of the car wants to move to the right very heavily. And in response to that, you can see a diver at 1:14:54. Let me get there for you. 1:14:54. You can see a diver reaching into the car right here. Now, you know, I guess there's this big question about what was going on with the drivetrain of this car. Did they put the car in neutral? You know, I mean, my thought is, was it a standard? But I looked up this car actually. Let me show you something. Where is it? I looked up this car, and this is the only transmission that's offered as an automatic transmission. So there's zero chance that that was a standard in neutral. Now I know I heard that there was a video out where a guy had the same model car and his car rolled in neutral, but his car rolled forward. This car is being pulled backwards, presumably in drive. The other thing that's interesting is that the wheels are obviously turning while the car, because the wheels were straight, and this, well, right before this happened, the wheels were turned pretty heavily. That indicates that there are keys in the ignition, or that steering column should be locked. So, I mean, my experience with cars is that they don't roll when they're in gear. At least not automatics. Now you can pop the clutch on a old standard and get it to go, but generally I think when a automatic is in gear, it doesn't move very well. Now, I mean, that's speculation that it was in neutral, but, and that guy even has a video that proves it, but I would like to see his car roll in reverse while the car is in drive. because that's actually what's happening here. This car is moving in reverse, presumably while the car is either in drive or in neutral. And if you go back and you watch the AWP video right here, let's see, you can see there are multiple people dipping into that car. So you have this sheriff lady's gonna get in there and start turning that wheel. Then you have, I think, one of the divers, he had some red on, he was dipping in there. See him? You could see the wheel turning. I mean, now the FBI divers were under the water with that car for a lot of time. I have to imagine that they did not get in there while the car was upside down to put the car in neutral. One is, it's a very weird position to get into that car. I don't know if you need to push down on the brake to get the car to go into neutral. My truck, you have to push the brake, or you can't shift the gear shift. Plus you have the other thing is, when the car is, if you're flipping a car, you don't want the wheels to be freely moving. You would rather them be locked in place, because once you get that car on its side and you want to do that last little pull onto its wheels, you don't want those two wheels that it's turning onto to start rolling and mess up your pull. You want those wheels to be locked in place and kind of dig in so the car will flatten out. So I can't imagine that they would touch the gear shift before they flip the car. So basically what you're looking at is, you're looking between the timestamps of anytime they approach the car after 43:31 in that video. They flip the car at 43:38. They approached the car at 45:09. They moved away at 46:45. They moved back to the car at 50:59, and they moved back away at 52. And then at 1:14 in that video, and then onward into the AWP video, you can see multiple people reaching into the car. Now, I don't know how far they reached in there. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm going to cut this off now. If you have any questions or want me to look into anything, just write it to me. Thanks for watching.